Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys and girls, I'm all sorts of excited to talk to you tonight. We're going to do the call-in show. Depending on how many people we get calling in, we'll either do 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, or we'll do 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. I'm shot. I'm getting off. This is now going to be my third show for the night, so I'm a little tired. Little bags under the eyes here. But I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you guys. For those of you new to the call-in show, you guys, I'm going to throw the number up on the screen at 9:30. We'll go into your calls. You're going to get 3 minutes on the clock, and after 3 minutes...
That's it! You're out of here!
That's right, you get the chicken. And I eject you from the cockpit. I'm excited to talk to you guys about the playoffs. What do you think about the division rival Bills getting bounced out? Guess what? You know what? End of the season? The Dolphins? They're nowhere to be found. They played one extra game. The Bills, they played 2 extra games. Both of them still going home sad and disappointed. Like a one-night stand that leaves a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth. That's a terrible way to say that. Wow. But boys and girls, if you just happened to make sure you hit that like button. It goes a long way to letting people know that this is a worthwhile stream to tune into. Yeah. Go a whole bunch of different directions. We can talk about free agency. We can talk about the draft. I got some slides I can pull up. We could talk about certain prospects if you guys want to talk about certain prospects. Looking forward to it. We got the Senior Bowl. Jeff Ulbricht's going to be coaching. We figured out the offensive lineman. He's got Fuaga on his team. I'm all sorts of juiced about this. Jets getting the Senior Bowl cannot be understated. So, guys, I will give you my thoughts here. We'll talk to the chat. Dakota, RJ, Harlan, Harry, Addison, Wild Waves, Scooby, Mitflare, Jets Mess, Aaron, Billy, Daniel, Devin. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's greatly appreciated. I'll give you guys my thoughts here. I'll bounce back and forth with the chat. And then we'll go over to the phone lines at 8:30. Before we do that, I do want to thank the awesome sponsor for the channel, SKG Tax. The New York Jets practice and play in New Jersey. This tax season, Jet fans may struggle with their state identity. If you are a fan and can't determine how to report your income, call JR the Tax Czar for all your multi-state tax questions. Don't go on the road to another state as a wild card filer. Hire yourself a CPA to game plan and defend your home turf. If you guys want to help support the channel, support the sponsors of the channel. And JR is a Jet fan. Great fan. So, want to support one of our own? Absolutely recommend it. Cuddy comes in with a super chat. Thank you so much, Cuddy. He says, please peak Taj Washington, USC wide receiver, late round pick. So let's do a little bit of this. Let's do, let's see. My go-to site for all big board type things is NFL Draft Buzz, because they show you all the different rankings across different big boards, which is very cool. So let's see. I have not done any research into Taj Washington, so I will not pretend like I know what I'm talking about here. He is 5'10", 175 pounds. He's a senior at USC. They're expecting his 40 time to be about a 4.43. The role says multi-role receiver. Let's see. His draft profile. From Washington High School, 3-star recruit by ESPN. As a freshman, he played 4 games for... Where did he start out on the... Oh, for Memphis. He joined Memphis first, then transferred over to USC. Gotcha. Then he played 11 games. And then, so after his sophomore season, he transfers to USC, where as a junior, he played in 12 games, hauled in 54 catches, 600 yards, and 1 touchdown. As a senior, so last year, he played, or 2 years ago, played in 13 games, 676 yards, and 6 touchdowns, with an elite quarterback rating when targeted of 131.4. As a fifth-year senior this past year, he played in 12 games, had 963 yards, for an average of 18.5 yards per catch, 6 touchdowns, and his quarterback rating when targeted was 142.4. It helps when you're playing with the number 1 pick in the NFL draft in Caleb Williams, but those are elite numbers no matter how you slice it. They say he's an excellent blocker on the outside. Washington also adds value in the running game. Very good hands, accepts the ball fluidly on most throws, blah, 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 blah. I won't bore you with all the specifics. So basically, they're saying this guy is like almost undraftable. Or I guess it is undraftable. How many picks are there? 200 and some odd picks in the draft? So mid DB ranks him at 330th, and Draft Buzz has him at 354. So those are the only 2 big boards that even have him on a big board at all. I don't even know how you rank 350 players. My ass ain't doing that. Long time. I got a hard time making a top 10 list. Crazy. Taj Washington, though. I'll have to watch a little bit of tape. I haven't watched much on it, so I'll have to give you some thoughts there. Brian says, we are going to the Super Bowl next season. Yeah, you see the fake Super Bowl kind of logo that they threw up? It's the Mardi Gras one. It's got green in it. Kelly green. It was fake. It wasn't real. We'll see. Wimmy comes in. What's up, dude? Jets. Good to see you in here. Kevin Ramos says, is the uniform change official? So the Jets haven't made any official word on it. The only thing I saw was the Score posted something, and they're verified, and they got quote tweeted by Sauce. I've been saying since the summer, and I've been saying really for the last month and a half. I had someone message me privately, credentials checked out, that the change has already been approved. And it is going to be what happens. This is someone within the department that they're definitely going to be relying on for this sort of, not to make the decision, but he's definitely in line with it. I'm here for it. I think the legacy jerseys are awesome. I thought when they released it, I was like, that should be our all-the-time jersey. I want to see the inverse helmet for the green jerseys. So if you get the green jersey, legacy, I want to see a white helmet with a green jet like swoosh logo. That's what I want to see. I think that's badass. Fingers crossed, though, that it actually happens. Wimmy says, Mel Kiper mock draft is out. He has the Jets taking Fashanu. So I saw his mock dropping tomorrow. What did he say in turn? Like, who was on the board? Who did we pass on for the Jets to take Fashanu? Because what I'm hearing, from around the league is Fashanu's not as high on people's boards as people thought. And the Jets may opt to go with a tackle, just not the left tackle, which is going to cause some people to be upset for sure. I think it's interesting because Ulbrich is going to have firsthand knowledge of Talise Fuaga, the right tackle out of Oregon State. While I'm talking about him, I have the slide. I might as well pull up the prospects, right? All right. This one is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking O-line. We're going to look a little Fuaga here. So this is Fuaga. This is who I think the Jets should possibly take because he is going to be on the Senior Bowl with Ulbrich. He's going to be able to test this dude out. If he wants to test him out at left tackle, he could test him out at left tackle. He could obviously play him at right tackle. He's been doing well over there for the last bunch of years. 1,500 snaps at right tackle at Oregon State. Team captain. Violent SOB in the run game. 12 career penalties. His biggest knock is the 83rd strength of schedule. So can he play with the big boys? And I think this is his chance to prove it at the Senior Bowl. And I'm looking forward to it. I think when you have Jeff Ulbrich in control of a defense that's going to be going against Fuaga, he can throw stuff at him and just test him more than other teams are going to be able to see. Now, there are 9 other coaches on the National League side. So it's not only Ulbrich that's getting this info. In the past, it's like, okay, the Jets' entire coaching staff is going down, and it's going to be Ron Middleton as head coach and positional coaches in elevated roles. It's different this year. Now they're taking a coach from every single one of the teams that were not in the playoffs. So it's going to be very interesting to see how is there any real benefit to it at this point? Ulbrich maybe can hide some stuff, but he has at least, I would say, the coaches that are going to this game are going to have more insight on the players here than the coaches that are not going to the game. So the non-playoff teams will have an advantage in some capacity. It's going to be fascinating to see. I really like Fuaga. I'm a fan. If you watch my 5 players the Jets should target at number 10, Fuaga was on my list. He was this, I didn't have it in any particular order. I talked about 3 tackles. I talked about Odunze, the wide receiver. I talked about Bowers, the tight end. But Fuaga, I said, was the betting favorite to be the number 10 overall pick. And I'm going to stand by that. Going to the Senior Bowl. I'm excited. Gangrene says, love me some Rome Odunze. He's filthy. If the Jets are taking a wide receiver at the top of the draft, Odunze is the one I want. If they want to take a tight end, obviously it's Bowers. And then offensive lineman, I'm pretty happy with whoever they take. I like Fuaga a lot. But I'm not as down on like JC Latham as some people are. I'm not as, concerned about Amarius Mims, especially if you want to trade down. I'm cool trading down to like the late teens and getting your guy. It depends. I shouldn't say get your guy, but if you like a few different guys, selecting one there isn't the worst way. Jay Mullen says, thank you for the Jets coverage. Jay Mullen, you're welcome. I very much like this. I appreciate it. If you guys hit the like button and you show you appreciate it, that goes a long way. Because then YouTube pushes out to more people. Hopefully the channel grows. Because I have never covered the Jets in a winning season. And I'd very much like to do that with a nice little audience here. We got a good crew. We got a devoted crew. That's just it. The people that are in the chat right now, you guys are the diehards. Like I'm talking we're talking Senior Bowl. The casual fans, they don't know jack about the Senior Bowl. They don't care. They tuned out after Aaron Rodgers went down. So the people that flew with us the entire way out here, I salute you, Jay Mullen. Wild Wave says, Ryan, I want a playmaker number 10. Even if we had to trade up for one of the big 3, I want one. Ooh, so you're saying Odunze, Marvin Harrison Jr., or Malik Neighbors. I really want Odunze. That would be the one I want. Addison says, black version of the legacy jerseys would look amazing. So I really, you know what? I'll show it real quick. I don't have a black jersey, but I have a gray jersey that I would like to see be a version. Now, obviously, you need some stripes on the side. I like the idea of having an F-16 fighter jet gray in the lineup. But I understand if they go with the black, because the black was only introduced 5 years ago, so obviously I think that's probably here to stay. But I'm curious to see what the black legacy looks like. The white legacy looks really good. The green mock-ups I've seen, I did see one black mock-up that I thought did look pretty good, so I would be interested. Kevin says, I want to see the white helmet on both uniforms. So I would be all right with that. I like the sparkly green helmet. I think that's cool. I just don't like the sparkly green with the green uniform. I think it's a little too much green going on. So Wimmy says, Joe Alt was taken, could also go receiver. So I'm assuming Odunze was probably there. And I would think Malik Neighbors, if Alt's off the board, Alt probably went 5 or 7. I want Alt. If there's a way to move up and get Alt, I would consider that. Someone brought up, I don't know if he's in the chat right now, brought up trading Bryce Huff to the Chargers, because the Chargers are going to lose Khalil Mack. They might, they'll probably have to restructure Joey Bosa unless they wind up cutting him, but they are in serious cap hell. He's a beast. Snowball says, Fuaga seems like a stronger offensive tackle, but he's a little slow. Fashanu can handle the speed rushers. So my understanding of Fashanu is that he is a better pass blocker than he is a run blocker. So you run into this weird sort of conundrum. It's not necessarily super weird, but it's like, all right, you're going to rely on Breece Hall to run the ball. You got to figure out both tackles anyway. If you have Fuaga graded higher, even though he needs some work at pass blocking, you may err on that side. I had said before, Fashanu and Alt, the left tackle was more important, but I think that's a bad way to look at it. I don't know. I just want starting offensive lineman. Whoever that is. If it's Fuaga, if it's Fashanu, I don't really care. I want to not be bad. When he says Fuaga's numbers are diluted, 83rd strength of schedule is scary. Yeah, it was the worst of the top offensive linemen. Latham had the best at 6th overall, 6th hardest strength of schedule, if I'm not mistaken. Douglas, what's good, dude? Coming in with Super Chat says, since we need offensive line and wide receiver, which defensive lineman will they end up picking this year? Douglas, don't do this to me. I'm not happy with it. I want no part of taking a defensive lineman. Last year before the draft, not before the draft, before day one of the draft, as we were talking about, am I not on my own thing? I can't make a poll question. This is stupid. I might have to change this. What was I going to say? Before we took Will McDonald, I think it was Green Bean. I feel like Matt might have been, either he hadn't come into the chat yet. I don't think he was part of the conversation. I could be wrong. I feel like it was a Green Bean and me thing at that point. But we were talking about how the only position we would be upset with the Jets actually taking would be someone like an edge rusher, because we're so rich in it. And I damn near lost my damn mind. When I saw, first I saw linebacker. I was like, who the hell is taking a linebacker in the first round? I'm going to smack some people around right now. That's how I felt initially. You know what I did want to talk about? Speaking of draft, let's throw this in the chat. We're going to make this a poll question tomorrow too, but I want to get a little preemptive knowledge. Would you attend a All right, poll questions in the chat. You guys can let me know what you think about this. I have a typo in there. There's an oops on my side. That's okay. I will forgive myself for screwing that up. But just something we've kicking around the idea a little bit. You guys can let us know if it's a reasonable thing to do. We've got a few ideas churning around. We'll see if it's actually worthwhile or not. E-Boogie comes in. E-Boogie says, trade AVT to the Chargers to move up to spot 5. I do not want to trade AVT. He's the only offensive lineman that I have any sort of faith in. Concerned about injuries for sure, but I do not want to give up AVT at all. No E-Boogie. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. I do not want to see that. Let's see. What else are you guys talking about in here? Scooby says, do you think the Jets, that's what you're talking about. Do you think the Jets should take a wide receiver and draft and sign a lineman, or take line in the draft and sign wide receiver? And if so, how would you do it? For me, I think you got to target both. I do think that weapon is going to be prioritized at number 10. I just have this gut feeling about it right now. There's a lot of offensive tackles. Maybe the Jets look to trade down, but when you're looking at the weapons, how far off do you think the weapons are from being where you need to be? And how deep do the wide receivers go in the draft? Because I think T. Higgins is getting tagged. I think Michael Pittman's getting tagged. I think Ridley's going to get tagged. And I think probably Mike Evans doesn't leave Tampa Bay. So once you start whittling that down, and now Devontae Adams is likely not getting traded, once you start going down those rungs, I really want to make a move for Courtland Sutton. If he becomes available, that's someone that I would really target. 6'4", played for 6 years for 4 years with our wide receiver coach, Zach Asiani. Nathaniel Hackett knows him. A lot of the offensive players seem to really like Hackett, even if they don't like his play calls or they're ineffective. They like Hackett, the person. So maybe there's some incentive there for him to come over. On the offensive line side of things, there's not a lot of tackles too. And good offensive linemen don't tend to hit free agency. The Jets may be kind of pigeonholed into going into a, right tackle in the draft and then just go after a receiver in the third round. That's why you got to get a pick for Bryce Huff, in my opinion. Gotta. I see Blitz Crew in there. I got Jeremy behind the scenes. Jeremy, I'll throw you on. I'll do you at 9:30. So if you want to pop back in, you can, or you can, sit around for the 9 minutes. But Blitz Crew comes in, says, ever since Blewett's analysis on how raw Fashanu is, Fuaga is higher than him on my list, if not Bowers. Milk thumbs. So yes, of course. First and foremost.
Milk thumbs.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls. Yes, so I was talking to Blewett. I'm excited. I haven't really announced this on this channel, but Blewett is going to be coming over and doing some film analysis with me. I got to figure out what day of the week we're doing it and if it's going to be a live stream or if it's going to be more of like a standalone video. But Blewett's been doing analysis. So him and I are going back and forth on like a daily basis. And he's not high on Fashanu. I haven't watched his video on it, so I do actually have to watch it, but I heard what his takes were from him, from the horse's mouth. Congratulations, Blewett, by the way, if you are happening to watch this. I'm not going to say why, because I don't know if he's said it yet, but I will say congratulations. As far as Fashanu, if Fashanu falls further down boards, I'm cool with taking Fuaga. Bowers, Blewett's not high on Bowers either, though. That's the thing. He's like, Pitts is far like the better talent than Bowers is, which has me kind of concerned because I watch Bowers. I'm like, wow, that guy's good. This guy looks good, but Blewett knows tape. Blewett's really good at tape. So for me to like say it and for him to say it, I take a lot of stock into what Blewett says. Georgia's really good. They're playing like some SEC teams. I don't know. I watched an interview with Bowers. He's definitely, it feels like there might be like, it takes him a little bit longer to say things. He sounds like he's got to think a little harder when he answers questions. That's probably not a great thing to say, but I try to watch interviews with a lot of guys, and there's certain interviews that you can watch where guys are just like sharp as a tack, and they just, they answer real quickly, and other guys some guys just interview poorly. But not that I thought Bowers was a bad interview, but it definitely felt like he was running Windows 95, if you catch my drift. What else you guys talking about? Lise in here says Aaron wanted to join the Jets because of Jets players. Now we're losing good players for him, though I wish we'd get rid of Hackett. Oh, well. So who are we losing? That's kind of my thing. We're losing Bryce Huff, but that's not because of Aaron Rodgers. That's because we drafted Will McDonald. As far as good players we're losing, I'll be honest, I don't know if we are losing any at this point in time. Huff is really the one I'm looking at. Mekhi Becton, you can argue that there's a lot of upside and it just didn't work out, but I'm not going to be banged up if we do lose him. SBC says AVT to left tackle, then guard, draft a left guard, much easier. You already know AVT plays good left tackle, cut Lakin. So actually, I'm like 95% sure he does not play good at left tackle. He can play left tackle and he has filled in, but he's the better right tackle right now. So there's part of me that feels like if you can get a Tyron Smith at left tackle and you can plug in AVT at right tackle, assuming you don't find one via free agency or whatever. I think AVT is going to right tackle. I do. And I'm hoping we get Tyron Smith or maybe a Trent Brown, someone that has positional flexibility, can go right or left. So it fits the versatility of the offensive line. And then if someone goes down, those guys can shift to whichever position you want. I really want to find a way to get a weapon at 10. I do. Offensive line's fine, but I think offensive linemen take a little bit longer to develop. And it kind of depends how critical you think it is that we get the must-win guys now with Aaron Rodgers. Do we have Rodgers for 2 more years, 3 more years, maybe? Not saying that you can't go tackle, but we've put a lot of money into the offensive lines, and it wouldn't shock me if they decided to go a slightly different direction like this. AVT at tackle, draft a guard at some point. I like guard in the 3rd or 4th round. Zach Zinter's really interesting. Bunch of really good guards in free agency as well. So there's a few different routes you could go. Haya Kung Fu says, you have to trade AVT. Achilles injuries worse for explosive players. Carl Lawson was never the same. You have to trade AVT. So I'm not expecting AVT to be explosive. Not really, at least. At left tackle, I would say the Achilles is a little bit more of a concern. But I don't know. Hopefully he just comes back healthy and we don't have to worry about this, because I don't think you can fix every single one of the offensive linemen across the board. Yo, it's Vince's non-football question. Did you see the new Godzilla movie? The Japanese one? I did. Godzilla -1. I went into it. So fun fact, I ate a magic muffin because I'm like, I'm going to go watch monsters destroy things for 2 hours. This is going to be great. I can't wait to sit here and watch this. So I'm like feeling good. I'm at cruising altitude heading into this movie. Didn't watch a trailer. I don't watch trailers. I don't do trailers because they give away too much. And I sit down, get in my seat, all cozy. I'm just like popcorn, snacking away. And then it's all dubbed. It's subtitled. And I'm like, I'm not in the right state of mind to read this a zillion times. But great movie. Really highly enjoyed it. If you guys can stomach a subtitled movie, definitely go see it. I took it as the Japanese perspective of like Oppenheimer almost. Like, because Oppenheimer came out in the summer and like all about the atomic bomb. And then you have the Godzilla -1 movie come out. And it's almost like the metaphor of Godzilla being the atomic bomb, which is what he's always been. But then also like just very powerful. Lots of callbacks to the original Godzilla, the 1956 black and white one. I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. All right. Blitzkrieg says, if money is the same, Pat's right tackle or Raiders right tackle? Interesting. I think I would take the Patriots right tackle purely because there's like a longevity there, where the Raiders right tackle, you're banking on upside. So it depends where the value of the contract is. If it's like a incentive laden deal, then maybe you go with the Raiders tackle. If it's like, hey, you got to give this guy that's unproven right now a little bit more money, maybe you're erring on the other side of things. I always really like taking the players from our division rivals because I think there's a little extra juice. Watch how, Miami takes Mike White, they take Berrios, they take Feeney, they take Robbie Anderson, they all these guys that have been ex-Jets. They bring a little bit, if they give 100%, they give 102% against the Jets when they go against them. That's why I like that. Not to mention Trent Brown. There was some rumors floated around. So you got to do your due diligence. I shouldn't say it's as easy as, the money side of things. The Trent Brown stuff, there was, he's routinely late for meetings. He's lack of motivation. I would chalk up lack of motivation to being on the team that had the number 2 pick for the longest time this year and is now currently picking number 3. I can understand why you might get, might have motivation problems there. So I can brush that off. Always late to meetings. I don't love, but he's saying it's totally false and it's not actually true at all. If that's the case, then maybe he's a little more pissed off at the New England Patriots and would love to come to the New York Jets and show them the business. I like that. That's what I want. E-Boogie says, what if Marvin Harrison Jr. and Alt both were still available on the board and picked 10? What should the Jets do? Who should they pick? So I really like Joe Alt, but I would go Marvin Harrison Jr. If we had the number 2 or number 3 pick, like whatever pick if we had lost the Washington game and we lost the New England game, we would have had the number 2 overall pick. I would have traded down with an attempt to try and still get Marvin Harrison Jr. with the fallback of being Joe Alt. Like in my head, I'm thinking quarterback for the top 3. And then I would probably go Marvin Harrison Jr., Joe Alt. And then it might be like, then it starts getting a little dicey. Because if Fashanu's not as like great as what people are thinking, I don't know. You can't go wrong. The Alt Fashan or Alt versus Marvin Harrison Jr. You really can't go wrong. I just love the idea of getting a generational wide receiver that is also like from the same school as our top wide receiver. Like there's a lot of fun to that. Joe Alt, while not a sexy pick, is still like a stud offensive lineman. So you can't go wrong. I understand people going each way there. All right. Let's hop over to a few calls. I'm going to throw the number on the screen so you can hit that QR code. I'm going to bring in Jeremy into the fold. Jeremy, how you doing tonight, dude?
What's up, man? How's it going?
I'm trying to hang in there. I'm watching some division rivals lose in the playoffs. It feels kind of good to see that. How are you feeling?
That's what we have, right? We get to see teams lose. It's hard to watch the other team win, though. I mean, like, as much as I enjoyed watching the Bills lose to some extent, I have a problem watching Kansas City win, too, at the same time. So for me, it's kind of, I don't know, a lose-lose situation,
Dude, I do not want to see Kansas City in the Super Bowl at all. Like I want Baltimore, I want Lions. That's my hope. I picked Baltimore versus the 49ers with the 49ers winning like at the beginning of the season, so
yeah, I can't watch a Super Bowl that has Taylor Swift every 5 minutes. I can't do it.
What if she does like the halftime show or something?
That's fine. That's where she
Yeah.
belongs. That's what she should be doing. She should be doing the
Uh-huh.
halftime show.
So for those of you
So
guys
I have
that
no
don't
problem with
know,
that.
Jeremy, Jets Chaos. We've got a few things coming down the pike. I don't know if I should announce. I should probably wait till Green Bean and Matt are here to like announce stuff. But we're excited. Got some stuff coming up here in the next 2 weeks, so you got to make sure you're tuned in to. I shouldn't say Jets Talk 24/7. It's actually gonna be on the Talking Jets channel. We're excited, nonetheless. Jeremy, what were your thoughts on the NFC side of things? So, what do you think of the 49ers? Obviously, the Jets are kind of semi-built similarly to the 49ers. So, what did you think about them kind of limping through the Packers, who obviously we got that connection with the Rodgers trade and Love playing and whatnot? How'd you feel about that?
I thought it was interesting watching that game. Obviously the weather hurt the Niners. And anytime, I think on a straight up field, the Niners had a big advantage. Anytime you had the adverse weather, it always favors the underdog, right?
Mm,
Because it just throws a loop into the game, and that's always good for the team that's
mm,
going to suffer on a neutral field. But what I really found interesting about that game was, as far as how it relates to the Jets, is the truth in our defensive schemes. Uh,
mm,
the Niners defense wasn't as dominant. They struggled. What was it that made them struggle? They weren't getting pressure on the quarterback. They weren't pressuring Love, and that was looked very similar and felt very familiar to me watching that game. That if you
mm,
can't, and I think that kind of when people say, bring up the McDonald draft, and I'm not defending drafting McDonald's. I know why
mm,
people are upset about it, but it's like there's your answer. I think
mm,
that they know they have to keep that engine going, like
mm,
solid and just the system and that defense. If you want to have a championship level defense with this scheme, I think that game, if not anything, is going to show you you have to get to the quarterback.
mm.
Otherwise, that defensive scheme is going to struggle.
Yeah, I could see that. Anything else you wanted to bring up? I kind of like steamrolled you with the questions of the, the playoffs. If you want to talk about anything else, I'll turn the timer off and we can hit that.
I was just confused, surprised by what blew it. Even making a comparison between Bowers and Pitts,
He
only
wasn't
because I,
comparing
I
the two. He was just saying Pitts was the better prospect than Bowers. Not that they were like similar, but him going at 4, he thought made more sense than Bowers going at 10.
that's surprising to me only because I just think that they're two different kind of players. I think the reason why
Mm,
Bowers would be a good player for us is not so much as when you watch the tape or the film as a tight ends,
mm,
but I think it's because Pitts was appeared to be, it's not
mm,
panning out that way, generational in his speed and his power, his strength, his ability to, get contested balls and do really athletic things for such a big guy.
mm,
To me, Bauer's skill set is different. It's just that he's just so to me, in my opinion, more of a vertical threat. He's more
mm,
of a guy who could take apart zones, find
mm,
the seams. He's more of a hands catcher type of player
mm,
that kind of is more like a receiver that can block, whereas I see Pitts as a
mm.
blocker that can receive. So I just see
Yeah.
them very differently. And I just think that Bowers is a guy, and again, you're relying on, and this could be the problem for us with Bowers, you're relying on a really smart offensive coordinator who
Mm.
can use a weapon like that. That's not a traditional weapon, but more of a multifaceted. Line them up all over the
Mm.
field, like sometimes even in the
So we got to
backfield.
hope Rodgers is the one like putting them into certain situations and whatnot. Like that's really what it falls down to. Bowers to
Yeah.
me, the attractive part of him, and you hit the nail on the head, is the limited amount of resources we have and the amount of needs we have. He kind of hits two birds with one stone. He's able to block. So if you have a weaker tackle on one of the sides, like let's say, for argument's sake, let's say Mekhi Becton comes back and he's playing right tackle, and he can use a little bit of help. Bowers cracks the first guy, gives him a little bit of help, and then goes out, for within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage and catches a pass and takes it up the field. Like that to me is valuable. Whereas someone like, I like Fuaga, I like Odunze, I would take either one of them as well, but you still kind of have to find those other pieces. You have to find the tackle. You have to find the wide receiver. Where I feel like you could kind of get by a little bit. It's sort of cheating with Bowers almost, but he's fascinating to me. I think he's going to be a hot topic for debate for Jet fans this year.
Yeah, yeah. This year more than any is going to be really. It's like we could have all the fun we want doing these mock drafts, but the reality is free agency and that open season with the trades or whatever could happen is really, has the potential to completely change the way we're looking at this, right? Right now, we're having this debate between weapon versus offensive tackle. But based on what happens in free agency, that can completely change. If we suddenly bring in the offensive tackle, from Dallas, suddenly we're thinking, okay, we can go interior guard, in the third round, because there's going to be plenty of guys in the interior that you can get in the third round. And then we're definitely thinking, hey, we need a weapon in the first round if we don't pick it up, in free agency.
100%.
So, and vice versa. But I kind of feel like we're running out of options with the weapons. Just, I don't think Devontae Adams is going anywhere. He got the coach that he, wanted and really fought for to get the job. It doesn't look like some of the guys we were hoping to go somewhere are going to go somewhere. I think,
Higgins, Mike Evans, Pittman, Ridley, like probably all four of them are getting tagged. The only hope with Ridley is that the Jags want to franchise tag Josh Allen, and then they allow Ridley to walk, and they don't want to give up the second round pick, because Ridley, they gave up I think it was a fourth and it was going to be 2 fourths. And then if he hit 75 receptions or 1,000 yards, it's a third round pick instead of a fourth round pick. And he hit that in the last game. He hit like just over 1,000 yards and just got like 75 or 76 receptions. So it moved up to a third. So now they have to decide, is it worth franchise tagging him and possibly, I don't know if it's losing the second round pick or if you actually have to sign him to a long-term extension and a franchise tag is kind of the workaround and it's still just a third round pick. I think that's what the Giants did for us with Leonard Williams. I think the franchise tag didn't count as like the long-term deal, and they signed it after the deadline had passed. But Jeremy, any last words?
Just, hey, if it's Ridley, it's Ridley. If not, but we all know what the needs are. We just got to hope for the best and hope we get it.
Jeremy, you've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, boys and girls, I've got Charles, then Lucas, then Devin on the line. We'll get to your guys' comments in just a second. I just want to pull up a few super chats. The Milton Fung comes in, says, what is Pitt's current trade value? Could you get him for a third and a conditional fourth that could bump up to a third in 2025? I don't think Pitts is going to get traded. I would be a little surprised if he wound up getting moved, just because whatever coach is going in there is going to have the ability to possibly really show out that offense. Like Drake London hasn't done jack shit. Pitts hasn't done jack shit. Bijan Robinson hasn't done jack shit because Arthur Smith sucked. He was terrible. So I would think they'd hold on to Pitts right now. I mean, his fifth-year option, I think it's just a tight end thing, so it's probably not crazy. I mean, I would hold on to him if I were Atlanta. I don't think I'd move him just yet. Maybe at the trade deadline if you weren't going anywhere and you didn't think you were going to re-sign him at that point. But, man, that's a waste of a fourth overall pick then. Blitzkrieg comes in and says, agree with Green Bean's video today. Cannot slow walk undrafted free agency this year. Sign a high-priority wide receiver and offensive lineman at the start of free agency. I completely agree. Day one, the night before, right before you hit midnight or whatever the legal tampering period is, if it's 4 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever the time frame is on that Monday, I would be at Tyron Smith's door. Send 2 guys. Send one person, Joe Douglas, Tyron Smith's door, or whatever your top offensive lineman is. We want you as a New York Jet. You are our top option. And then you send someone else. So you send like Salah the other direction. Or you send, Aaron Rodgers and Hackett go to the top offensive weapon. Like, and they say, hey, Mike Evans, or hey, whoever you are. We're on your doorstep at the start of free agency. We want you here. We have divided and conquered. We need an offensive lineman. We sent our GM that way. We want you here. We came to you first. I agree. You cannot slow walk this. If you start having this situation where you had the conversation with Odell, and Odell's like, oh, the Jets were slow-walking conversation talks. They didn't seem like they really wanted me. And then the Ravens come in, they're like, hey, we're going to give you $15 million. You don't get on that plane or this deal's off the table. I want the aggressiveness of the Ravens for the Jets this year. That's what I want. So I completely agree with, I haven't watched Green Bean's video, but I agree with the sentiment. You cannot slow-walk free agency. All right, we're going to go over to Charles. Charles, give me a thumbs up if you are ready. All right, Charles, welcome to the cockpit. How you doing, dude?
Hello, everybody. First, I want to apologize that I haven't made any videos in quite a while. I was busy with a bunch of stuff. I did.
Charles, I'm going to boot you real quick, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because Ablab just dropped in $100 super chat. Holy hell. Avlab, you are the friggin' man. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. You are the man, my dude. He says, I don't know why we want to add to our tight end room with Ruckert and Yeboah here. We need offensive line. Did we watch these 2 years? Offensive line, then a wide receiver weapon, then a future quarterback. Tight end, weapon over offensive line. Bowers is nice, but we need to focus on the SUV, not the Ferrari. So I definitely get what you're saying. And in a vacuum, I'm looking at Conklin, I'm looking at Ruckert, I'm saying, I love him. I would like to move Ruckert to fullback, honestly, to get him and Conklin on the field consistently. Now, obviously, if you don't go with a tight end, Ruckert and Conklin will be your, tight end 1, tight end 2. But I don't want to bring back Bawden. I would love to get Ruckert on the field. So it's not a down play on Ruckert. And I think Yeboah would be great for special teams. And if he shows out as, a tight end 3, great. I agree. You got to fix the offensive line. Offensive line is first and foremost. I would go into free agency. I would try to do whatever I can to get the top offensive tackle you can get, if that is Tyron Smith, if that is Trent Brown, if that is, maybe the guy from the Broncos who's going to get cut. If you want to do that, all about it. 110%, got to keep Aaron Rodgers upright. Where my thinking comes in, where you start thinking weapon, you start thinking either tight end or wide receiver, is when you're saying, we got the left tackle in free agency. We're looking at AVT's 5th-year option, and it's going to be $15 million. He's getting paid like top 10 tackle money as a guard. So I think what they want to do is they would ideally keep them at guard if they can find the tackles. I don't know if they're going to have the option to actually get those tackles, though. So I think from necessity, AVT kicks out to right tackle. You have whatever free agent tackle you got at left tackle. And then you bring in more of a developmental guy in like the 3rd round at tackle, and you have Carter Warren, and you kind of develop them behind the scenes a little bit more. Tyron Smith is ready to go, where a rookie might not be right away. And then that opens that 10th overall pick to an incredibly valuable wide receiver, or potentially tight end. I'm not dead set on Bowers. I think it's attractive because he can block and he can catch. So it's almost a 2 birds, 1 stone situation. I very much like Odunze. If you had to ask me who's the top weapon there, Odunze, I think, is what gives us the best complement to Garrett Wilson. But I would say offensive line, solve that. If you could do it in free agency, then I think that opens up the 10 pick for a weapon, and it gives you your option of either Bowers, Odunze, or even trading down at that point if you like a few of the tackles. Like, I love Fuaga. I like Mims. I like Latham. I could go a few different routes, and there's even tackles beyond that. Patrick Paul from Houston is an interesting tackle that I think you could get developmentally in either the tail end of the 2nd, top of the 3rd, depending on how you get picks. But I agree. And, O'Leary says this a lot too. He says, why are we worried about, an oil change when you don't have tires? Or why are you worried about the stereo in your car, but you're not worried about the transmission you need? I get it. Same mindset. Got to solve the offensive line. Ablab, my dude. You're the man. I very greatly appreciate that. You are far too generous. Generous and a scholar. Let's hop back over to our caller. What's up, Charles? Sorry for that.
No worries. I was going to say that I'm sorry I haven't posted any videos in quite a while. I was busy. Speaking of movies, I know you told me about the new awesome-looking Godzilla -1 movie. My friend Colin wants me to see... No, I did see The Beekeeper last week.
I think you were telling me about that, or someone else was telling me about The Beekeeper. I haven't actually seen that yet. I've heard good things.
It was good. It's probably the best movie I've seen David Ayer be a part of since Training Day with Denzel Washington.
Ooh. Okay.
Jason Statham's a badass in that movie. Anyways,
yeah.
Speaking of Godzilla, I really want to see the Godzilla X Kong movie, The New Empire. That movie looks interesting to me.
Dude, I just love seeing monsters destroy shit. It could be Transformers, it could be Godzilla, it could be like literally anything. I love cheesy, campy movies more than anything.
I like good stuff too. Anyways, back to the draft and free agency. Sorry to be a little rude.
All right.
I like Tyron Smith. I've always liked Tyron Smith. I think he's a very good player. I know he hasn't been healthy in quite some time, but when he's on the field, he is a dominant force on the. My mother's telling me to lower my volume. Say hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
But the thing is, anyway,
I see Addison saying Ant-Man would bitch slap Godzilla, and from
No, he wouldn't. You get fried like a crisp with his
well,
atomic breath.
he'd turn him into the radiation and whatnot, but he'd do the little like tiny jump and like hit, and Godzilla would go flying because of like he'd turn into an enormous person right as he threw the fast punch. Momentum,
Yeah,
physics.
I know. Anyways, I would like to see Marvin Harrison Jr. on the Jets. I know he's the son of Marvin Harrison, the legendary Colts wide receiver that played for so many years with
Dude, they're
Peyton
not getting
Manning.
up to 4 or 5 to get him though. That's the thing. He's going top 5, 100%.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like Brock Bowers. I did see him play a little bit in college. He was good. Um, I did watch highlights
Mm.
of Joe Alt. He's incredible, man. I mean, he's great in
so
pass protection. He's great in run blocking. And his father, I did some research on his dad. His dad was a pretty good pro too. Played about 10 plus years, was a Pro Bowl a couple of times, made an All Pro once or twice. Um, but the thing is, as for Mekhi Becton, I think the reason why a lot of times he sucked, other than his struggles, was that he did really play in about 2 years. I think he was very rusty, but I'll say I wasn't thrilled about the coaching anyway.
Charles,
Have a good
you've been ejected from the cockpit. I've got Lucas, then Devin coming up here. I just want to go over to Ablab's comments in the chat. I'm trying to follow the conversation. So he's talking to Billy SBC. So Billy says, yeah, I agree. We have 1 first rounder, then we fall 15 floors to the 3rd round. Need to get the best offensive tackle in the first. So I completely understand that. And I agree, yes. My concern is that they think Aaron Rodgers needs someone that can play right now. And much like they didn't want Joe Tippmann to be the center and they wanted Connor McGovern to be center because he's a veteran, I could see the same thing happen with the tackle. Now, maybe because our tackles are so bad, that kind of trumps that, but that's sort of where I could see the conflict of interest, especially if you need someone to impact now in a season where Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh have their backs against the wall. So Ablab says, yes, Billy SBC. I'm going to try and follow this conversation. He says, yes, yeah, I mean, we can get some good offensive linemen in the 3rd and 4th, but are they going to start for us right away? Questionable. And I completely agree with that. I would say you're not expecting a later round pick, not later, but like, 3rd round pick to start for you. I would argue that AVT kicking out to one of the tackle spots and then Carter Warren developing behind the scenes and then a 3rd round pick sitting behind the scenes behind a Tyron Smith or behind a Bakhtiari is also another way you could go. So I completely understand what you're saying. I just think there's more than one way to skin a cat, if you will. And then Ablab comes in. He says, first of all, free agent market is prime for wide receiver, then offensive lineman. With the 10th pick, we are going to have to get a day 1 offensive lineman. Have to. So I think, yes, from a names perspective, when you look right now, offensive line and wide receiver, there are far more big names in the wide receiver front. The issue for me is that I don't think a lot of them are going to hit the market. I think you're looking at Higgins getting the franchise tag, Pittman getting the franchise tag, Calvin Ridley getting the franchise tag. I think you're talking Mike Evans. He could get the franchise tag, but I could see him signing an extension to keep him a buck for his, the duration of his career. I know they want to bring him back. I'm sure he likes the warm weather, the no state income tax, that sort of thing. We had him in for training camp, so maybe there's some degree of knowledge that, like, okay, he's looking to get out of Tampa Bay. I would love to, like, Mike Evans is the pinnacle of my free agent wish list, hands down. If you can get Mike Evans, you do it all damn day. But if he winds up staying in Tampa Bay and you're not trading for Devontae Adams, now where are you talking? You're hoping for maybe a Cortland Sutton getting cut or traded. You're hoping for a Mike Williams or a Keenan Allen. Do you love either one of those guys, giving them a bigger contract? I don't love it, to be honest. I like Tyler Boyd. I like Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel's a hometown Brooklyn kid. Like, maybe you bring him in to be the slot receiver. It starts to get interesting depending on how you can address wide receiver. If you can get a top one in free agency, by all means, go tackle in the draft. I'm 100% on board with that. I just think the Jets have a better shot at overpaying for an offensive lineman than getting one of the wide receivers that would actually move the needle. Like, I don't know if Mike Williams moves the needle for me. I don't know if Keenan Allen at 32 years old or 33 years old. I don't see him leaving San Diego anyway. I don't really want a Hollywood Brown. Maybe you go after an Odell or a Hopkins or something at this point. I completely get where you and Ablab are coming from with this, but I think it's a little more nuanced with like, it's an if this, then that. So if you can get the wide receiver in free agency, then by all means take the tackle 100%. I mean, you could just say like, if you take offensive tackle with every pick, or you take offensive line with every pick of the New York Jets, I think most Jet fans would probably be like, oh, that makes sense. You see our offensive line? That makes a ton of damn sense. So we'll see. But I think there's more than one way to skin a cat, and I tend to lean on, I think the Jets can attract an offensive lineman in free agency via dollars, than more so than we can get a difference maker. Like, I feel like you might get a Lazard 2.0 almost if all the wide receivers start getting dried up as we go a little bit further into free agencies. But who knows? We'll see. We're going to go over to Lucas. Lucas, how you doing, brother? Hold on, you're muted. Unmute yourself. I think it says unmuted. If you can't figure it out, I'll boot you and I'll get you back in. All right. Going to boot you real quick. While you're figuring that out, I'm going to go over to Devin. Devin, how you doing, brother?
What's up, Ryan?
Hanging in there.
Now, I want to talk draft. I want to talk a trade back.
Let's go.
Now, I'm not talking 4 picks, 3 picks. Not talking small. I'm talking falling back into where the playoff teams pick.
Ooh, okay. I can understand that. I gotcha.
Because there's a guy out of Arizona, Jordan Morgan. He played left and right tackle in college. Got a little bit of a sack issue.
Okay.
I'm got listening. His Draft Buzz, NFL Draft Buzz. I use that website.
Love it. I was gonna say, yes. Let me pull up. So Dom C hooked it up with some of his draft guide. So I've got a little bit of insight from Dom C. So I want to see. Okay, we're talking tackle.
Yep, Jordan Morgan.
Out of, you said Arizona, Jordan Morgan. Yep, got him.
Okay, sorry.
6'5", 320. He's going to the Senior Bowl. Is he on our team? I know the list got released today. I didn't know. I didn't look. I'd have to go back and see it. I'll give you guys a little bit of stats on him. Pass block.
Left tackle. Sorry, I meant he played left tackle in college. The other guy I was going to bring up after you get done with him played left, right, and guard.
Patrick Paul?
No.
Ooh, okay. So Arizona left tackle gave up this past year. He had 4 penalties, 2 sacks, 15 pressures. Really? That's not like too bad. I'd have to go back and look at other years. What was the other player you were looking at?
Cooper Beebe, Kansas State.
Oh, I know he's on the Jets. He projects as a guard.
Oh,
he's on the Jets Senior Bowl
guard, but I think he can play tackle in the NFL.
Interesting. So that's very cool because I know Dom C actually texted me today. He's like, yo, check out this play by BB. I was like, yo, this guy just fucking road graded this dude. So as a guard, if you can get him in the 3rd round, I'm all about it. He's looking like he's projected, let's see.
Late 2nd, early 3rd is what I'm seeing.
Okay. Cooper Beebe, Kansas State. He had 9 pressures given up, 1 sack, 2 penalties. He played 122 snaps at right tackle, 819 snaps at left guard. So he's got some positional flexibility.
A dark horse. Everybody's talking Bowers.
Mm-hmm.
3rd round tight end. Cade Stover out of Ohio State. Same kind of mold as Bowers. Can block and catch. He's a little slower than Bowers, which is why I think he's not getting as much love.
Did you say Oklahoma? Stogner?
Or what? Stover. Cade Stover out of Ohio State.
Him on Dom's list. Interesting. So I'll have to do.
And then there is Rod Moore at safety.
I got him. Ohio State. Yep. Okay, so 5 total touchdowns, 8 forced missed tackles. All right. Interesting. I like Ohio
He's
State
projected
guys.
late third, early fourth
Yep, I see fourth
kind of
round
guy.
grade. Yep.
I like Zenter, Michigan, with the injury. I think
Love
you can
him.
snag him late third.
Yep.
Rod Moore, safety out of Michigan. I can't remember if he said he's coming back or not. But if you can get him in the third, that's one hell of a safety. Dude hits like a Mack truck.
Oh,
I'm an
dude.
Ohio State fan, man. I watched him for 3 years. 3 or 4. Kill my wide receivers over the middle.
Devin, from your lips to God's ears, we get some good guys. You have been ejected from the
You're
cock.
out of here.
All right. We've got Mutt Viles. Actually, no, sorry, Mutt Viles. I'm going to put you back in the green screen real quick. I'm going to go to Lucas because he was here before and we had the issue with the audio. So we're going to go to Lucas, then Mutt Viles, then Johnny. Lucas, how you doing, brother?
How's it going, man? Can you hear me now?
I got you loud and clear.
Thank you. So before we start, I just wanted to say thank you for all this time you've been putting in this off season. You know,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
especially
Thank you
with
for
these
appreciating it.
videos. Yeah, especially for these videos about the graphics and the sky reports and all.
Dude, I stay up,
A lot of
like, no
time.
joke. The tackle video, I was up till 4 a.m. And what sucks is, like, those are all unmonetized. When I show highlights, I don't get a single penny. So I'm doing it because I love it.
The PFF stuff you do per year, all that running, passing, that's perfect. It's perfect scouting. So I want to say thank you. So also, I would like to say, do you play Madden at all?
Oh, so I used to play a lot of Madden. I've got an Xbox Series X right now, so I could play a little bit more Madden. Maybe I'll dabble in it. I usually get super pissed off because I'm not as good as people online at Madden. I'm more of like a first-person shooter kind of guy. I like playing Madden versus the computer because it's like I like to win. I don't like facing people that just beat me into submission. But maybe we'll do a little Madden tournament or something like that. You play a lot of Madden?
Why not? My next point on that is that the Jets players are so low rated compared to other players around the league.
Well, they update the rosters, don't they? Like because I think we probably started a little bit higher, and then we probably dropped as the season went, if I had to guess.
So some examples to that. That was my theory at first, but Quincy Williams is still an 82 rated right now.
I would bet next year that'll change.
I know that's like top 15 middle linebackers. Now he's all pro. So
stud. Yeah,
I know.
He's top 3, top 5 in the league.
Yeah, and also another one, an underrated one. Shout out Michael Carter, by the way, on Nickelback All Pro. Like he's so underrated in that position, especially when playing nickel with Mosley and Williams. So he's awesome right there.
The people that are talking about him possibly getting traded for like either cap savings or additional draft picks, I want to punch in the throat.
I know.
So mad.
I heard you on that video earlier this morning. I was watching. Yeah. And I also agree with that. I think it was you in your video, but you said how depending on free agency or trades you do before the draft is who we will draft. So, like, if we draft, like, 2 offensive tackles from free agency, maybe a weapon is not bad. Like, Doomsday or the tight Georgia.
Yeah, and it sucks because I don't really want to be in that position. I subscribe to best player available in the draft. I think that makes a lot of sense. But I do think that if you solve offensive tackle in free agency, I think that lets you go best available because you have the positional flexibility of AVT. So AVT could be right tackle if your best available is a tight end or a wide receiver, or AVT sticks in at guard and you got a better offensive line because now you like Fawaga better than the wide receiver or something. So I would love to get the receiver in free agency personally.
Yeah, either way, I don't mind. Also receivers in free agency too, T. Higgins, Pittman, all that stuff. Like it.
Oh, yeah, dude. Thank you so much, Lucas. You have been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let's go over to Mutt Viles, then Johnny. Mutt Viles, how you doing, brother?
What's going on? First off, you can hear me, right?
I can hear you loud and clear. And I can see you. You look beautiful. I do have a little bit of an echo, so maybe turn down your speakers a little bit.
Yeah, there we go. Better?
I got you loud and clear.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was moving stuff around my setup. But nah. I'm hearing everyone talk right now.
I'll give you a little reset. Mutt Viles got a dope setup. Mutt Viles has texted me pictures or messaged me pictures in the past of like you still have the multiple screens, correct?
Yeah, I still got 3 screens.
Ah, it's fresh. I've got 3. Well, actually, technically I've got 3. I've got my old iMac that I used to do everything on. That's more of like I do some stuff on it right now. I got my laptop that I do everything on now. So I've got that screen that I don't really look at. And then I've got this super ultra wide screen that's like taking up half my desk, which is friggin' absurd. But you've got a great setup.
I think it's crazy. I've seen that though. That thing is crazy. But now everyone talking logic though when it comes to the draft and all that though. Me, if you remember last year though, I was the big go get Herbert before Aaron Rodgers came to town.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for the chaos. I'm all fine with that. So to me, how would you feel if we got what the heck was that? You said in your tackle video, I forgot his name from the Patriots. That
Trent Brown or Onwenu, one of the two.
Onwenu, yeah. Sign him
He's
at right
younger.
tackle.
Yep.
You sign Tyron Smith at left tackle. Why not go trade with Justin Jefferson? They say a significant receiver.
Wow.
He's up in a contract.
Imagine? Dude, throw like the top 10 pick and like the 2025 first and go get Justin Jefferson. If you have the money to do it, holy hell. I thought about that for a split second. I was like, could you get him for number 10 and like give him the $25-30 million a year that he wants? I mean, that's great. They would be stupid to get rid of him. He's so good. I love Justin Jefferson. He was like, aside from CeeDee Lamb, I had CeeDee Lamb as my number 1 wide receiver. I had Justin Jefferson as my number 2. So like in that draft, like ahead of Judy, ahead of Ruggs, and like people are like, yeah, it's ridiculous. I was like, I don't know.
The only bad thing I would see though, if I want that, is you have to go to Bryce Huff for at least a 2. You have to at least.
Well, you'd have to probably you'd tag Huff probably and give up Huff the first. And probably like Zach as like a throw in, like, hey, if you want to back up Kirk or something like that. Plus probably more. It's probably more than Huff and a first, I would think.
True, but you got to pay him though. Remember, he wants a new contract though, so you're gonna give up your entire draft capital and pay him. That's why I don't think he might not go for that much.
10.
Still, he has to be worth the first.
Would Douglas give up the 25 second or the 25 first? He probably doesn't give a shit if he's not going to be here. I don't love that.
That's true.
but yeah, I see where you're going with
that. I'll take though for an offense because then you can do whatever you want. Honestly, because even somehow though if you keep 10, what do you do then? Like, what do you even do with that pick?
If you keep 10 and you've signed Onwenu and you've signed
Tyron Smith and you get Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Well, let's say you don't have Justin Jefferson. At that point, you got to go with the weapon. It's got to be. I would say Odunze would be top on my list at that point because you've solved the blocking issues. If he's gone, I would consider Bowers, but I would love to trade down and pick up a second because I like a bunch of the tackles. If you could trade down, pick up a second, and then still get one of Mims, Latham, or Fuaga, I'd be pumped on that.
I keep seeing everyone talk about Bowers. I'm like, why is everyone talking about him so much?
It's because he's like labeled as that generational tight end. Blewett.
What happened to the last generational tight end that came out?
He went 4, and it didn't work out so good. But
exactly,
usually first round tight ends don't pan out. Like that's like a common thread. And when Blewett says he doesn't love Bowers the way that like other people do, I mean, I listen to him because I really like Blewett. I think he knows his stuff. But man, like I don't know. I would like Odunze over Bowers, honestly, because I think he complements Garrett a lot more. I think if you needed like to sort of justify like a tackle in some capacity or a blocker, then maybe Bowers sort of checks that off. I don't know.
Yeah, if you have Conklin, that's good though too.
Good. Conklin is good. I look, that is drafting Bowers is not an indictment on Conklin. It is not an indictment on Ruckert at all. I want to like make that clear. If the Jets do pull that trigger, it's not because they think less of either one of those players. So I think either one of them is phenomenal. Boys and girls, if you'd like to call into the show, the QR code on the screen right here. Oh, I pointed the right way. I never point the right way when I do this. the QR code's right there. You can scan that. Call on in. I've got Johnny, then Andrew, then Liab Bean on the line. Let's go over to Johnny first. Johnny, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, dude? How you holding up, man? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear. Dude, I'm hanging in there. I'm like, dude, it's just, I'm watching. I feel better now that the Bills aren't in the playoffs. Like, you know, none of our division rivals are there. They all suck. I feel a lot better. All's right in the world.
I agree, man. I was a crazy game, man, but
I
still think the Niners and the Ravens, I think that's going to be Super Bowl, and I think the Niners got it. It'll be a revenge game.
So I took I think I took so we have a little bracket we do for the playoffs where it's a pick each round and then you pick winners, and then it's points one week, it's something else the other week. I took 49ers over the Ravens as my initial Super Bowl pick at the start of the playoffs, and then it'll kind of shift as things go. I'm not buying that the 49ers I think the Lions could dethrone them. I think the 49ers kind of stalled out a little bit. I think missing 2 weeks of football may have hurt them. And Debo being banged up is concerning.
So my draft, I think if we draft, so I was all about Bowers for a while, right? Because I thought maybe Bakhtiari was going to come over there and then we could kind of shuffle some stuff on the line. But Dr. Chow made a really compelling case in regards of his actual injury history that it wouldn't do really well for us there, right? So I backtracked and I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and say we don't go ahead and go back in the draft, like we don't get a second rounder, right? We stay at 10. I think Fuaga stays there for us, right? We go in the third round. I would love if we pick Zinter, right? I think Zinter is that. Fourth, I think we go ahead and this is where I'm tossed up in the air between a wide receiver or a defensive tackle. I like the kid Sweat from Texas. He's a monster.
I haven't watched him, I'll be honest. I've kept all my focus on like O-line and wide receiver.
And fifth, and I would love if we have Sam Hartman, right? Have him redshirted for the next. Yep, right behind Aaron Rodgers and our quarterback.
Is he Notre Dame? Is that
right? He's Dame. Yep. I think
I have not watched him, but I'm aware of him.
And I'm all for if Higgins is there and we could get him. That would be awesome. I would love to have Higgins. I don't think that's going to happen, but I wouldn't mind Ridley or Ridley. That's who I'm. Or Boyd. No,
I really like Ridley. It could fall down to like a Boyd. It's gonna be real interesting to see what ends up happening because I know Boyd went to Pitt and is very like close with Tomlin, so I could see him going to Pittsburgh. I could see T. Higgins staying in Cincinnati. I could see Mike Evans staying in Tampa. I could see Michael Pittman staying in Indianapolis. I could see Calvin Ridley, who they just traded a fourth and a third for and might end up being a fourth and a second, staying in Jacksonville. Like, then you start whittling down those free agents, and it's like, wow, the receivers are not looking like the names that we saw initially.
Agreed. And, dude, one person in the fourth that he might be there and look him up is Malachi Corley.
Oh, dude, I just did a video on him. Love it. Whoa, where'd you go? I think he muted himself. Or he clicked himself out. All right, boom. You've been ejected. Here. I think he just came back literally as I started to say that. So real quick on Malachi Corley, I can pull up a little I won't do it. I got dinged for the highlights, so I got to be careful when I show the highlights on certain things. But Malachi Corley, very exciting wide receiver. I believe slot wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken. I'm like losing my train. Now I have to go back. See, now I have to look at it. Let's see. Malachi Corley. If we turn off this, we're going to go. Yeah, he is. Malachi Corley. All right, real quick, I'll do this, and then I'll pull it back so that way I'm not getting hit for stuff. Yeah, third round. Does he fall far enough? I don't know, dude. I don't know. He's an interesting receiver. I like him, but I don't know if I'd pull a third round pick on it. Let's go over to Andrew G. Andrew, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Hanging in there. I'm having a good night. I'm coasting. I'm cruising right now. How you feeling about our off season?
Well, I'm in the Baltimore area, so it kind of sucks being around all the Ravens fans right now.
Yeah, they're having all the fun in the world. You feel like SpongeBob you feel like Squidward looking out at SpongeBob and Patrick having all fun in the world, right?
Yeah. I honestly didn't even know Dalvin Cook made it to the Ravens until I was at a bar and like they were like, "Oh, Cook on the carry." I was like, "Oh, fucking Christ.
Son of a bitch!" 19 yards on the first carry, and like, there we go. I'm so glad we signed Dalvin Cook.
I started like everyone was cheering around me. I was like, ah, shit. My wife's like, what's going on? I'm like, it's Dalvin Cook. She's like, oh, okay, I got it.
Oh, I get it. It's a sore subject.
Yeah. Well, I hate to bring it up every time, but I feel like it's the only way you actually know me. But I'm the one who made the cheese head.
I very much know the Cheesehead, and like, so we got to see Andrew at the Talking Jets group buy, and it's such a legit Cheesehead. It looks better in person. It came out so good.
Yeah, I've got my my 3D printer that I made the wings for it, and the cockpit, and there's a little army man in there too.
Oh man, I didn't even notice that. So okay, I got to ask you real quick. I've been looking at a 3D printer. Is there one that you would recommend that I pull the trigger on?
Yeah, actually, it's right over here. So I've got the
that's the one
bamboo rod, X1 carbon.
That's the one I was looking at.
definitely recommend.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. I haven't found a reason to like need to use it, but there's like, there's
a reason right here. But
well, yeah, I bought my wife a Cricut, so it's like almost like the reverse of like the lady version of like a 3D printer is how I sort of look at it. And like, I gotta find. My brother's been trying to get me to get one for the longest time, and I should just pull the trigger. Those things are friggin' awesome.
I mean, yeah, not to take too much time away from the Jets, but the Bamboo Labs, it really it helps like anyone who's not really that familiar with 3D printing really get into the hobby without spending a ton of time just troubleshooting a lot of annoying things. So any of the Bamboo Labs is a good one.
Oh, dude, my real quick, my refrigerator downstairs has a button to fill the water, fill a water cup, and what happens is my fucking button is above the fountain, so I can't just put my cup underneath, hit the button with the cup, and let it drain. I have to use two hands. So if I'm holding a kid, I'm like, kind of moving this weird way. There's a 3D printed part that pops out the old part, and it makes it where you click it, and it pours the water in. And I was like, that's what I need. Like, I wish I had a 3D printer. I asked for it for Christmas. GF, if you're watching, you mother trucker, you didn't print out one. I wanted a little print part, so I got to buy a printer to print out a little part for.
Now you know someone else with a 3D printer too, so.
That's true. I might have.
You got my email. Yeah.
All right, let's talk some Jets. We have 2 minutes.
Anyway, yeah. So I did want to say I've pretty much never been like interested in the draft until I started watching like you and Green Bean and Matt, and like you guys are definitely a lifesaver in like doing all the research because I don't have enough time to watch all the college games and everything. So like your videos that come out, like I obviously like offensive tackle I think is the biggest need. Wide receiver, of course, yes, but like honestly, I mean, yeah, there's like a couple of different guys that like I'm looking at because of your videos, but I think offensive tackle first and foremost because I don't want to see Rodgers hurt again because that was heartbreaking to be at that game.
The good ones never hit free agency, and like if Rodgers goes down again, that's the season. Like that is
that's the season. And honestly,
you can't get the ball.
I know. Rodgers has said that he's coming back for a couple of years, but like if he goes down again in the first game, that would be hard. But more of a positive spin. Like I really do think there's a good opportunity to get a lot of good players on here. Just a couple of places we need to shore up, and I'm definitely looking towards next season. I know that's the catchphrase of the Jets fan is next year's our year, but
next year we're gonna win the offseason. I feel great. Let's be honest. The offseason's longer than the regular season, so who's really the winner?
True.
I feel
so.
Good.
Yeah, the Jets fans are definitely the winner. Yeah.
Months out of the season, I feel good. The Super Bowl winner feels good for fucking 6 months, and then they're right back. Yeah. So, see, glass half full. And
all right, Ryan. Yep. Thank you very much.
You have been ejected from the cockpit. Andrew, great caller. Loving the cheesehead. We're going to go over to Liab Bean in just a second. I wanted to throw up Crossfire's comment. What's up, Crossfire? Good to see you in here. He says, all I know is I never want to see AVT at right tackle or left tackle ever again. Every time he goes to tackle within 2 games, he's going... 2 games of going, he is injured. AVT needs to stay at guard and guard alone, either left guard or right guard. It doesn't matter. So, let me address this real quick. I should get some type of like YouTube doctor on here because that would be like kind of cool to see. But I would love to know if the injuries that were sustained by AVT are because he was at tackle or if it's just sort of a freak injury. Like, in my mind, I can rationalize AVT needing to like force himself out further, stretching his body further than maybe he feels comfortable. Maybe that puts extra pressure on the Achilles. That's why it popped. Maybe his triceps tear is because he's kicking further out. He's got shorter arms. He needs to stop that edge rusher. So he's putting more force on the edge rusher, and that tore his triceps. Like, I can rationalize those injuries based on the where he's playing. I think guard is where they ideally would love to see him stay. It's just a matter of how you solve it. For me, I would love to keep him at guard. The way I'm viewing our offseason and our season next year is through the lens of Joe Douglas saying, I need to win now. And Rodgers, I need to win now. And Saleh, I need to win now. And that's how I'm framing every decision that the Jets are making, because that's the mindset that I think they're going to have. And I think it's slightly short-sighted because it kind of has to be, because you whiffed on Mekhi Becton, because you whiffed on Zach Wilson. Like, that's why your window has been accelerated shorter and you have to make decisions like this. Oh man, it's a big problem, and I completely understand if that's the mindset. I mean, this is a common thing I hear from fans across the league, not across the league, but across the country for the Jets. Oh man, I don't know. I get the feeling because of his 5th-year option is going to be so high. I think they're gonna put him at tackle at some point. I don't think it has to be next year. But I think in the future it could be unless they sign him to like a long-term deal that makes more sense for a guard as opposed to like top tackle money. But his flexibility is what's going to be able to allow him the opportunity to make more money. So I think he probably wants to go to tackle in some degree. All right, let's go over to Liab Bean. See how Liab Bean's doing. Bean, how you doing?
So many thoughts, so little time. I might have to come back for a second pass, but like,
that's all right. So you're the only one in line right now. So if you deplete your 3 minutes, I'll let you keep going.
I have so much thoughts. Like, first of all, looking at like the past 2 weeks of playoffs, I mean, listen, as much as we want to rave about defense, I don't know. The Browns are the #1 defense that still got blown out. Like, it's just, it kind of shows you how like fickle defense is. Like, you want to have a pass rush, and obviously, if you have defensive help, you want it. But like, the Lions have a shitty defense, but they're going to the conference championship. Like, that shows you the importance.
Shitty. I mean, they're good. Like, Aiden Hutchinson's a dude.
Yeah, exactly. A pass rush. But their corners suck. They gave up tons of passing yards. Like,
well, the Jets for a while, it was that bend but don't break. We're going to give up like 80 yards in the middle of the field, but we're not going to give up those final 20.
It's just that I'm tired of the constant, like, we always lean one side but never the other. It's like, it's just like, listen, I don't know how to describe it, but like, it's just this draft and offseason, I would just hyper focus on the offense, multiple things. Because one thing I've hated for the last 15 plus years of watching the Jeff draft and sign players is we'll get one weapon and then the rest will be like scrap heap players or undrafted free agents. For a while, our best offensive player was Jeremy Curley, man. Like, I don't want to go back there. Like, I mean, we have Garrett Wilson. That's great. But then we were running out Brownlee and the other punter guy that,
Gibson.
like, and that was, yeah, exactly. Like, I just call him the little man. Like, it's just,
I want 2 wide receivers, ideally. If you can get me Curtis Samuel in free agency and Odunze in the draft,
Curtis Samuel injury, and like,
who?
Curtis Samuel's kind of like an injury guy. Like, I don't know.
He's a Brooklyn guy, though. I want to bring him home. That's what I want.
I mean,
and he's just got to be better than Cobb.
Well, yeah, but like, that being said, like, I'd rather bring in T. Higgins to draft a guy on top of that, like.
Oh, well, yeah, hold on. I don't want Curtis Samuel over like a T. Higgins or over like I want a legit X wide receiver or like, someone like an Odunze or a. I mean, there's a few. I mean, if the Jets could get Brendan Rice, I didn't even realize Jared Rice's son was in this draft until I was like doing research. I was like, holy shit.
I mean, like, listen, I have no idea who's good or what. I just want them to do is both when it comes to tackles or offensive line and wide receivers, draft and also sign them. Like, I don't want, like, we need to start like drafting more skill position players for offense and also on top of that tackles. Like, I think we've been trying extra hard on tackles. We're just not hitting. But for wide receivers, man, we really never double dip in the draft. Like, the Packers might not get first round draft receivers, but I don't know if you noticed for the last 3 drafts, they've been drafting second, third, fourth, fifth round constantly. Like, there's a pipeline and I want that. And
So-
like the second thing is I'm afraid of Bowers, man. Like the same thing with the Falcons, he didn't do much, and everything they said about Bowers, they said about OJ Howard. Well, it's he's like it's he
Yep.
the risk reward is just not worth it. I'd rather trade down if we had to, and then like do something, but sign the tackles and then draft one, sign wide receivers and draft one, and then really hyper focus on offense. And then on top of that, I don't think this is a small window because even after Rodgers, this is good for the whole team because whoever comes in will need those weapons. Let's not look at CJ Stroud lifting up the Texans. Let's look up the other massive amount of teams, good teams that draft and develop quarterbacks over years. The best quarterback we had was Chad Pennington, and he sat for 2 years. I think we should start sitting these guys more. As much as I'm impatient, I want unless we get lucky and get the CJ Stroud, which we never are for some reason. Like we're wondering about Garrett Wilson wanting to go to the Texans.
Fucking Houston wanted Bryce Young. They
Exactly.
locked into fucking Stroud.
That's the point. And it's just like we're like people want to go to Texans. Like only a few years ago, everyone wanted to leave Texas, like the Texans. You
Yeah.
know, like that's
They turned it around like that. If we had hit on the Zach pick, if we had hit on the Mackay pick, like we are having a totally different conversation. Because you got $75 million more from the Rodgers trade, and you got 2 extra second-round picks. Not hitting on Zach cost us a fucking fortune.
True, but you got to be like the 49ers and readjust. They didn't hit on a lot of their picks, but they're so good because they know how to like reevaluate. And then we got to stop trying to trade Bryce Huff, man. Like Connor Rogers on his Badland podcast is still be like, yo, we got money if we just learn how to manipulate the cap. There's easy ways to do this. And like we could, I don't know if you noticed, the guys that good teams release are always the guys we tend to pick up in the past, like middle linebackers. Like CJ Mosley was a first round pick, and they released him because they wanted to save their pass rushers and their corners and like their skill position players. We should let's get rid of the safeties of free agents, so he's probably gone. But let's cut the defensive tackle. Like we could easily replace those much faster than we could replace a pass rusher, man. We need these guys. Like when we're in third and the other team's in third and long, we want Bryce Huff screaming at guys, I don't want to be like, oh, if we had a pass rusher like we did for it. We were paying 5 defensive tackles during the Rex Ryan years. How can we not afford this? Like it doesn't make sense.
Look, give me the transition tag on Bryce Huff. Give me the opportunity to match the highest
I'll
offer.
do better. I will pay him for 4 years for a reasonable contract. I'm sure he won't turn that down if you give him good money.
If I were Bryce Huff, based on what the Jets do, and it's not so much that the Jets did something to him, it's what they
players though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the Jets went to Huff, and I'm sure Huff and his agent were like, "Hey, we're a free agent this year.
Maybe
we would
Rodgers
love."
could take the Kavorka that he has me like, "Hey, Bryce Huff," you're like, "Hey, baby, come back with me," puts his hand on his face, like
Bryce Huff
tears
to
away.
me. If I'm thinking through it, I'm saying I'm Bryce Huff last year, and I say, "Hey, I'm a restricted free agent. I would love to sign a deal with you. I'll sign a reasonable contract. It's not even going to be that much. I'm an undrafted free agent. I just want to be appreciated. All right, you know what? We're going to give you good money. But we're not going to give you the first round tender. We're going to give you the second round tender because we want someone else to. The second round pick's far more valuable than you, and we'll keep you for the year because we think that's what you're worth. Oh,
yeah, but he also has to notice that
draft a replacement like that. Like to me, I'm not doing the Jets any fucking favors if I'm Bryce Huff.
I don't need him to do a favor. I just need him to get paid properly, like what any other team would pay him if he's going somewhere else.
And what is it? Because that's the thing. Like it's the franchise tag at $21 point some odd million or $22 million, whatever it is.
My best bet is, you know what? If I had to, I would say hopefully he doesn't have to get this high, but how about 4 years, $20 million plus a good signing bonus so the cap is reduced. I think that's more than enough reasonable, and he should be plenty happy.
So I think $20 million is an overpay for Huff because of the percentage of snaps he plays. Like I think he does have to play more.
We could increase. I mean, we could say
$20 million,
increase this guy's snaps.
I think that is the market value for Huff. I think it is 4 years, $80 million, and I think if you guarantee 2 years of it and you heavily load the signing bonus, I'm on board with it. If you could drop the cap hit down, I'm good with it. I just don't think the Jets and Joe Douglas are going to do it because they took
Why
Will
not?
McDonald. I think there's a pride.
We got to win now.
I think it's a pride thing. I really do. I agree. My mock offseason at Thanksgiving had us franchise tagging Bryce Huff and keeping Bryce Huff. So I am on board with you.
Stupid reason not to do something. Like it's just. At least in this, it's like
I'm giving you what I think is gonna happen, not what I want.
But I mean that we don't. I mean, like I'd rather keep him and not have Bakhtiari come anywhere near this team unless he's serving tacos. Like that's. I don't understand. We've paid the crappiest players from other teams, but when it comes to our own guys, we can't pay them. Like we know what Bryce Huff in limited snaps still leads the team in sacks. I don't know how you can't value that. Like
So I
think about
definitely
it.
value it. I want to see him in more opportunities. The one player that I had reached out to, not he reached out to me, but someone brought it up to me recently today. Garrett Bowles, the 32-year-old tackle from the Broncos. He's a $16 million salary cap cut. Saves them $16 million. Would be a $4 million dead cap. They've got $23.5 million in dead cap plus the Russell cut, which is going to cost them an extra $40 million. So if he shakes free, I think immediately jumps to the top of my list because his over the cap valuation for the year was $16.3 million. Give him $20 million a year and say, you are our tackle. Lock it in.
We could do, like I said, if we make proper cuts in other places, like our safeties we can get rid of that and sign Ashton Davis to a small contract that we'd be gladly play on. Like I think Ashton Davis deserves it. He's the one who's
100%.
always making weird plays, man. He's actually developed.
I want Ashton in the worst way to stay a Jet. Like I don't know what his contract looks like, but like Ashton Davis, keep him around. 100%. He's always
like a
$3
million deal. Like it's just
if it's $3 million, 3 years, $9 million.
Yeah.
Do it. Bam.
Yeah, like
done.
our defensive side actually develops players. We got to start doing that on the offensive side. Like, as much as I don't know what Robert Saleh is or isn't, I still feel bad for him because D'Amico Ryan, like I don't know if you noticed when CJ Stroud plays, he looks great, but when he doesn't play, he looks a lot like Robert Saleh.
Yeah,
like
I mean, Robert Saleh's comment. There was the rumored conversation between Benigno and Saleh saying, "Hey, look at all these other head coaches without their starting quarterback. Look how they perform." And I completely agree. I understand. I mean, to some degree, you drafted Zach Wilson to be your starting quarterback, and he sucked. Like, you do have to fall on some type of sword. Losing Aaron Rodgers, that's why you're getting the extra year. Like Woody understands it. Woody says, "Hey, this was the plan. It was a 2-year plan with Rodgers with the hope for a third." And
and as awful as this team has been, and trust me, this team this year broke my heart in so many ways, just on the games and stuff. We still managed 7 wins, crappy wins. I'm not saying they were anything to write home about, but and 2 wins we should have had, like the Oakland game and then the Falcons game, but we were throwing like non-roster
the first Patriots game. There's a few in there. You could have had 10 wins with Zach Wilson as your quarterback if he just didn't step out of bounds in Vegas.
But it feels like the combination of that plus the media hatred. I mean, I don't know. Like the Giants thing got swept under the rug, and they're just going through chaos in their locker room.
Shocked that went on almost unnoticed.
But the minute Aaron Rodgers tells you what food he's getting, everyone's like, I hate that guy. It's just, it's kind of ridiculous how much Rex Ryan was right. The teams get covered vastly differently.
It's
every time the
we
Jets
are the
mentioned,
clickbait. They know the negativity feeds on us, and we're like, oh.
It's not even just the clickbait. It's on the radio
I'll show
shows.
You tip tap tip tap tip tap tip tap.
Yeah, but on the radio shows, every time they mention that, they're awful team. But when they talk about the Giants, oh yeah, they tried really hard. It's man, they got 1 less win than us on top, and we're the bad team. Yeah, we are bad, but they're worse. And they got a screaming ball. It's kind of funny. You know how everyone loved Dayball, but all of a sudden now the screaming. It's when you win, everything looks good. Sal's rah-rah looks good when we're winning, but it looks bad.
Dayball looks like a fucking lunatic right now.
He was yelling at players.
I wanted Dayball. Dayball was my number 1 choice for head coach the year that we hired Saleh, and he wound up going back to Buffalo. And
his own coach,
everything that I've seen from him, I am very glad we did not hire him at this point.
And then if you look on Buffalo side, Joe Brady, Sam Darnold got Joe Brady fired, and he was the genius who helped Burrow and LSU. And then all of a sudden he gets Josh Allen. He's like, oh, he's a genius again. No, it's the same guy, but he actually has a quarterback to execute the plays he draws up.
So, Liab Bean, I'm going to throw you a trivia question right now. And anyone in the chat, you can chime in if you know this one. In 2000, so let's see, Robert Saleh has been the coach for 3 years, 2023, 2022, 2021. So in 2020, I made a mock offseason halfway through the season. And I had a head coach and I had an offensive coordinator. Do you remember who those 2 were?
Was it? I mean, his name escapes me, but the guy who was coaching the Panthers, who got left, who got fired.
So I did not have
from Temple.
I know who. So I did not have Rule. That was an O'Leary take. O'Leary liked Rule a lot. I did not have a Rule. I had Dayball as our head coach, and I had Joe Brady as offensive coordinator. Him and Kafka were the two that I kind of bounce back and forth. I love both of them. I really do.
It's just funny how people look like a genius with the quarterback and then they look stupid without one. Like our offensive coordinator sucks at many levels, but if you look at like the tape, it's like there's still players open and the quarterback's just not throwing it. So like I mean, for some reason Aaron Rodgers did win 2 MVPs somehow with this guy. Like Adam Gase led Peyton Manning. Obviously it was Peyton Manning, but like that kind of shows you like even the Brandon Staley went to a playoff game with his quarterback. Like, and Brandon Staley is like he brings points off the board, man. Like, it just doesn't
Dude,
make
he
sense. Like
sucked. He was
Chuck
so
Pagano
bad.
with Andrew Luck. Like, but then Bill Belichick, who's one of the greatest of all time, and even though I hate him, it's like, well, what did he do without Tom Brady in an offense? The same shit. And it's
You think
just
he's going to Atlanta? Off topic ish.
I just hope that he's not in the AFC because I'm just sick with him. I wanted him to go to the NFC East just to like bother the Giants for a bit. Like, you know, I'm just like
I thought Washington was an option. I thought maybe Dallas if they fired someone.
What it would irritate me is like it would irritate me if he went to the Chargers. It's like, man, like do it from scratch, man. Like you almost had a quarterback.
He's too old. He wants to win the stuff now. I think if he was offered it by the Chargers, he'd get it. But I think Harbaugh gets the Chargers one. I think so. If six openings, right?
I'm just surprised that McCarthy is not fired, man. Like, and then he's not at the Cowboys. He should be a Cowboy. Like that would be the smartest move.
McCarthy's there another year, so it's gonna be Harbaugh with the Chargers. It's gonna be Belichick with the Falcons. It's gonna be Ben Johnson with the Panthers. It's gonna be Vrabel with the Seahawks. Who am I missing now? Washington. Who does Washington?
I've heard from a lot of reports that it's going to be Ben Johnson with the Commanders.
Ooh, so maybe it's Ben Johnson with the Commanders and he could take his quarterback. And then the Panthers.
Like, I mean, Belichick's probably going to the Falcons because, like, easy division.
Because Pioli's there, right? That's the draw, I think.
Probably, but Pioli, I don't know. These New England guys suck wherever they go. The only reason why the Texans guy isn't fired is because he got C.J. Stroud, but his drafts were bombs for years.
Lucky. He wanted fucking Bryce Young. He took Stroud because he had to.
Think about that. The Texans won a game that they're not supposed to, and they got lucky. We did it, and we got Zach Wilson, you know? Like, instead of...
Well, that's what's crazy. And not to mention, we had 2 fucking wins. If you have 2 friggin' wins in a season, you get the top pick.
But, I mean, the Jaguars was so obvious. They played Mike Glennon as a quarterback, and they sat what's-his-face, who's now in the Colts. Like,
They sat Minshew. They were like, hey, we need, like, the Jets won against the Rams. We need to bench Minshew because he gives us our best chance to win. We got to play Glennon.
Frank Gore
and then we got lucky. The fucking Jaguars won the next week, and then we beat the Browns. And then we're like, son of a bitch. we won 2 games back-to-back.
I know, man, but like I said, it's just even if we got Trevor Lawrence, how good would he be? I don't know. It's no CJ Stroud literally like lifts off his team. He had 4 offensive linemen out and 2 of his weapons gone, and he still threw up 30 points. That shows you how much a quarterback can change the dynamic of a team. But we got to develop these guys, man. Like even as much as I like to clown the Bills and with wide right, like I mean, their quarterback, the Chiefs, wherever they go, the guy.
Dude, I would take Josh Allen in a fucking heartbeat. I know, but like Josh Allen is the Gronkowski for me for like Patriots versus like Bills.
But if we drafted him, I had this distinct feeling, whether it be him or Lamar, they would have sucked with us because we wouldn't have developed them right, you know?
So I have had that mindset for a long time, and as I watch Josh Allen more and I watch Lamar Jackson more, and you don't have the same offensive coordinator, you don't have the same, like, for either guy, I think they would be the same. I think it's a physical freak talent. Like, not that, no, like Gase isn't developing anyone, and I don't think Salah or LaFleur are developing anyone, but if you have Josh Allen or you have Lamar, you are in a significantly better situation. If you could have if you could have given 2 first-round picks for Lamar Jackson, that was not actually an option, but if you could have and signed him, that would have been
Yeah, but like obviously the Ravens would have matched. But the thing is, in his second year, they replaced their offensive coordinator to get a guy who suited Lamar more. And then once Lamar grew into this league and understood how to play quarterback at a higher level, they got Todd Monken because now he can do both.
I want Todd Monken in the worst fucking way. Like, I think he's phenomenal. If Robert Saleh shits the bed, Todd Monken is top on my list.
I mean, at this point, I don't even know, man. Like, who?
Dude,
I would obviously want him to go offensive.
Jameis Winston throwing 30 for 30, and it was really just Winston throwing the 30 interceptions. He went to Georgia, they look good. He went to Baltimore, they look good. The fact that he's not getting head coaching calls is Looney Tunes for me. I would take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, unless they think he's like a one-trick pony, but like he's a good offensive coordinator, but a good head coach. Maybe that's one reason. But like, I don't know. There's so many. I would hope that if it's not Robert Saleh, we go offensive. But like, for some reason, it's like the Bears, man. When they get stuck in their ways, they get stuck in their ways. Like it's just the only reason why I don't say this often is because I don't want like Bears fan to hunt me down. But so many times I want to tell them like, yo, your Super Bowl winning QB sucked ass so badly. Like his numbers were beyond
Who was their
putrid.
Super Bowl winning
Jim
quarterback?
McMahon, I think.
I was gonna say
Jim
the only
McMahon?
one I know. Well, not that he won, but it was Rex Grossman when he was
Yeah.
against the
Rex Grossman in
against the
2006.
Colts.
But like
Yeah.
the one who won, like they treat him like he's like at
Like
least Joe Namath won an
like,
MVP.
I'm telling you, like we get a court. If fucking Rodgers wins the Super Bowl, we're building a goddamn statue outside of MetLife. 100%.
Yeah, we should, but like I mean, at this point, like first we need Rodgers to hopefully play 2 to 3 years, and we need to get someone like Love was not nearly as good. Like if he learned a lot. We need to get a guy to learn behind him, but obviously not this year. Next year, this year we gotta set up the offense.
Would you want to go mid-round quarterback this year?
No,
or
because more
punt?
likely they're gonna be like Malik Willis or all those other guys who sucked ass. Like we need to get like a legit guy with raw
So you
talent. We need
want
to get
like, hey, we're going all in this year. We're gonna get the tackle or the wide receiver in the first round, the third round. We're gonna go all in on Rodgers this year. Oh, we did good enough. We made the playoffs. Everyone comes back, and then next year, would you do first round for
first or second round, depending on where like
Trade
I
up,
don't know where
maybe?
we would trade. Like that's how the Kansas City did it. That's how the Bills did. That's how the Ravens. All the good teams do it that way. And then if you're lucky, then you get C.J. Stroud. That's literally how it happens.
Yeah.
That's always the case.
You
And
trade
I
up for a
realize that
Watson. You trade up for a
they-
Mahomes. Like when those guys
Yeah.
wind up on a team that's loaded, it's totally different. Like,
And that's
the
why I
teams
think we
that are
should load
picking
up
at the
the team.
top, like top 5, those are bad fucking teams. Unless you're the 49ers and you lose your starting quarterback, which is what was so it pissed me off as the Jet fan. Like, we had the 49ers Bosa situation, and we won 2 games, and it was like, fuck, we could have had Marvin Harrison Jr. for fucking 15 years. We blew it.
But there's also a chance that like a couple of years from now, we be looking back and Marvin Harrison Jr. is a bum. We don't know. Like I wanted
true, but Nick Bosa was like the crown jewel for that draft, and the Jets fucking won.
I do love Quinnen. Even as much as I wanted Nick Bosa, I do love Quinnen.
I love Quinnen. I have no issues with Quinnen. My
And he's
issue is
way
that 2
politer than
wins
Nick Bosa.
cost us Trevor Lawrence and Nick Bosa.
But
And
that's
I
the
think
thing.
we're a better team with those 2.
Yeah, we probably are, but at the same time, I mean, the 49ers have been winning ever since, and they still draft good guys. You got to remember, a few years ago, they drafted the guy we have now as a defensive tackle. What was that guy?
Solomon Thomas.
Exactly, and he sucked, so it doesn't really, like, I mean, there's Marcus Mariota. I wanted him in the worst way.
Oh, I wanted him
and
so
we
bad.
won that game, and we lost, but look at him. He sucked.
Was that? I think that was against the Titans, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but Rex Ryan couldn't let that happen.
No,
because, he had I don't know. All these
we had to
young
win
coaches,
and get fucking Leonard Williams to push Muhammad Wilkerson and Sheldon Richardson out the fucking door.
But see, it didn't matter because if we drafted him, he would have sucked anyway. Like he sucks now, And then the only coach who wins
Mariota
who
went
for
to
the
Tennessee.
team.
If Mariota went to Chip Kelly in Philly, which is where they Philly tried like hell to get him.
Yeah, but Philly hated Chip Kelly off after like a year.
Because he ran a stupid amount of offensive plays. Like for me, I love the Chip Kelly offense minus the quick snap. Like run to the offensive line.
His offense got figured out.
I love Chip Kelly's offense with the thought process of let's get to the line as fast as possible. As soon as the snap, go. Okay. Take it down to 1 second on the play clock. That's fine. And readjust. You kept the same players on the field. That's the important part.
But like
after
in
that, then
2019,
you kind of figure out like, okay, what play are we calling?
But in 2019, Ryan Tannehill got there. He still managed to excel. Like, I mean, if Marcus Mariota desperately needed Chip Kelly to like figure it out, he's not the guy, man. Like,
dude, I thought
don't think
Mariota looked good in Vegas too. Like, I would have considered keeping him instead of going.
He didn't
after
look that
Jimmy
good in Vegas. Like he did. He's been a mediocre. He's been a mid quarterback at best.
He has,
and he's been almost non-rosterable at worst. Like he's been lower to mid at like he just hasn't been good. But that's the point I'm trying to say is we don't know what any of these guys are, and many of them happen to be bust. Like Chicago's still mourning Kevin White, who was at that time Marvin Harrison Jr. of that draft. Like it's just these guys. That's why I'm like, for all we can know, Joe Alt could be good,
Dud.
great, or mid. Like, OJ Howard was supposed to be the next Gronk, and he literally, Tom Brady couldn't make him good. Like it's just we gotta develop guys. That's when it comes down to. Ashton Davis sucked for years, but this team actually made him into something. Like
So my thought process with the quarterback is the same as yours. Let him sit. But the issue for me is I mean, it could be first round pick. Like if you have Rodgers, you have the justification of like, we got a 4-time MVP.
yeah,
This guy's
like a
sitting.
late round, like raw
I
guy.
love
Like
the idea of sitting. Sit someone for 3-4 years. The issue is when you get someone like Jordan Love, who now signs a Band-Aid contract, and now you're gonna have to pay him oodles of money, like top quarterback money.
Yeah, but they're still
It's
gonna
a
have to
great
pay him
problem to
one way or the
have,
other.
but you have wasted the rookie contract. So if you're looking for the value of rookie contract, I feel like the New York media and the New York market in general is not conducive to a rookie quarterback contract. And for me,
I mean,
I would
it's
rather
just-
groom someone or
but if
sign a
we-
veteran than let a rookie start here.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I would sign a veteran, but have a rookie develop. Like, I mean, it's just better off that way. Like, and as people say they want to make advantage of the rookie contract, I get it. But if we're wasting them, then it doesn't matter. And so let's just do it the right way. Like, we can figure it out. Like, yeah, Jordan Love's probably going to sign a monster contract, but I don't think Green Bay's sweating it.
No, because they got their guy. Like 100%. I
Exactly.
get that. But you look at Buffalo, who's going to have to start paying Allen a ton of money. You look at the Chiefs. Mahomes is starting to get a ton of money next year. Like those,
He's already
the
getting money
Dolphins,
now,
they're going to have to
but
pay
they
Tua
still
now.
won.
Like, what was that?
Like, I mean, Mahomes is already starting getting his money now, but they still won because they got like a guy.
Next year, I think, is the big year with his money. They've been pushing it off, and I would consistently do that. Like I would nuke my 2030 cap, like to make sure like Mahomes had every bit of salary cap for the next few years.
But where
I
would
don't
you
know.
rather be? Figuring out their contract or not having a quarterback say, hey, we don't have to pay a guy because we have nobody.
I would love to have the problem of we have too many good guys. We need to sign someone. Like, oh, the Jets have Sauce. They got Garrett. They got Brees. They got Jermaine. We got to figure out how we ought to sign them all. Love that problem. Let's do that every fucking year.
Yeah, exactly. And you know
Every
what
year.
the Bills did? They let go of their middle linebacker and their safety. Same thing with the Bengals. Same thing with all. They always let go of the middle guys. The guys Green Bean loves for the next Mo Lewis. Like we gotta we gotta let guys like Mo Lewis go. Like that's what we got to do.
I understand.
Middle line,
Green Bean.
like it's just.
Not Green Bean. What are you? You're Lima Bean.
I'm a
Sorry, I've had
Lima
too many
Bean. I'm
beers.
on the Bean of
Yeah,
Beans.
you're a bit objective.
That's it. You're out of here.
Sorry, man. I had 2 beers. What the fuck are these percentages? That's what happens when you get toasted. 5.3. That's not a lot. Oh, 9.1. So I've had like 3 beers. I should not be like this topsy-turvy after 3 beers. That's what happens when you become a dad and you don't drink a lot. Start feeling pretty good. We got 16 minutes left. 16 minutes left in the call-in show. If you guys want to call in, you're more than welcome to call in. If you don't want to call in, totally fine. I'll talk to the chat. No issues there. I can talk to the chat all damn day. We got 179 votes on the poll question in the chat. Boys and girls, I want to direct your attention to the poll question. Is this something you would be interested in? And if you're listening to after the fact and you want to let us know, would you come to a Talkin' Jets draft party live? Like at a bar or a venue or something? Just kicking around some ideas. The idea, ideally, is to still do the simulcast. We send it out live from location. But if anyone's local and we want to do something like that, we're thinking like open bar, we're thinking some food, things like that. It might not be, unfortunately, it may not be like super, super cheap, but like for 5 hours basically of hanging out and shooting the shit, I feel like it would be a lot of fun. We got a few things. Mudfile says, all I need to know is where and when for the draft party. So we'll let you know. And I probably shouldn't be saying this, but we've been kind of kicking around the idea of doing it. O'Leary and I are looking at a few places this week to see if it makes any sort of sense to do it. I see Matt C says, do it at MetLife. So it's actually pretty funny. I did email my contact at MetLife and I said, hey, is this an option? And she never got back to me. So I could follow up with it. My issue with that is the MetLife Jets Giants draft party ends after both teams pick. So the Jets pick at 10 and then the draft ends. So I don't know if they're going to keep the stadium actually open. Like, let's say, for instance, we had the hangar, the whatever suite they have, like the big, like 150 people can come in, whatever. Will they staff it? Will they keep it like people there, or are they like, hey, yo, you got to go when everything ends? That's my fear with doing it in MetLife. But it's something we've been kicking around. The thought is there. The thought is there. Dakota says it's time for New York Jets to officially turn the corner and finally change. I agree with you. Kevin Chatta says, great idea, Ryan, on paying the tab. So, well, the idea is open bar, and we probably won't do a dinner. Dinners, that's the thing. Like, as you start adding, open bars are fucking expensive. They're not cheap. And most people probably will not actually take advantage of the actual dollar value of the open bar. So, like, we could do a tab, but then we'll get some people that are like, we got to have liquor all the time. So I understand that. But then you start adding on food. So it's like, all right, do you want to do a full dinner? Because then the price gets really jacked up. Appetizers like sliders and buffalo wings and mozzarella sticks and like all chicken fingers, like all that stuff. That's kind of where my head's at for like a draft party. So it could be a little bit different. Kev Chatta says, he says, all you can eat and drink on Ryan. So yes, all you can drink, but honestly, it's probably going to be a 3-hour open bar if we do it. If we do a 3-hour open bar, that should be enough. Because look, we honestly don't want people getting slammed, and we want to try and keep the price down. And the draft, from what we've seen, is like a 5-hour ordeal, and that is a lot of money for an open bar. They do not charge cheap amounts for that. But then the food, I like the appetizer stuff, especially because the draft starts at like 8:30. Like, how many people are honestly eating like chicken parm and stuff like that like afterwards? Save us a little bit of money, maybe go that route. We'll see. Dakota says, Gamer Guy, no way, but Aaron Jones is a beast. Love Breece Hall the most on the Jets. He's my favorite player. The Jets are going to need a second running back. I don't think Izzy's going to be it based on his run style, or at least he can be one of the 3 running backs, but I would like a bruiser. I want someone like, 1st and 3 from first and goal from the 3. I want that kind of running back. Like, I'm gonna knock your fucking teeth in, and I'm gonna make sure I get in the end zone. That's the guy I want. So if that's in the draft, if that's via free agency, I'm good either way. Aaron Jones is gonna cost a lot of money. I would not endorse that. I think that's probably a lot of money. Dakota says, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Germain all stay in New York for life. I hope so. I would love to see all of them here. Retired Jets. Breece Hall is the Beast Lightning. Check out the Talkin' Jet store. We got a few Breece Hall related merchandise items if you want to support the channel. Muffa says, do finger food. So appetizer buffet, right? That's where you're kind of thinking. I agree with you there. Kev Chatta says, you need a babysitting room too. So I told Becca, I was like, draft is on a Thursday. It's later at night. You're home. If I left to go somewhere else, this may not be the worst decision. And she's like, all right, you can do that. I was like, all right, cool. Well, although funny enough, I do need to try and find babysitting services, and not so much babysitting services, but me and Matt are going to tour a few places. And because Becca's back at work, we have the 1-year-old, 1.5-year-old Shay in daycare. Not an issue. But Ren, I can't go take to a bar on a tour. Or at least Becca says I'm not allowed to. So I can't go that route. Do a flat rate, cover charge per person. So, Jimmy, that's probably what will end up happening. We'll do a flat rate across the board. We're going to do raffles. We're going to try and get some sponsors to try and help us with the price of everything, if we can. And then we'll definitely do a jersey giveaway for the rookie of that we select. Oh, actually, the rookie jersey giveaway, we're going to do that. Oh, is it in this QR? I don't think it's this QR code. I think it's the Talkin' Jets one. I have a mock draft contest. So if you guys want to do that, you can do that. Jim says, tip your bartender. Always tip your bartender. 100%. Well, not 100% on your bill, but at least do 20, 25%. Bartender takes care of you. Best appetizer says mozzarella sticks. Thoughts? So I call me weird if you want. I think I love mozzarella sticks, but I actually don't love mozzarella sticks in sauce, like marinara sauce. I don't mind it. It's fine. But I'm actually like a ketchup guy. And I think that's really weird. Like a lot of people like, this guy's fucking having ketchup with his mozzarella sticks. It's basically like a French fry with cheese. Sort of. With a little bit of mozzarella sticks. I love it. Ben says, how many wins would the Jets have this past year with Mike White healthy every game? If Mike White was healthy every game, I think there's a real good shot the Jets have at least 9 wins. I would say at least 2. I don't know if you beat the Eagles with Mike White. Like I do think we have to tip the hat a little bit to Zach on certain wins. But I think the Raiders win you could have had. I think the Atlanta win you could have had. I think the Patriots win you could have had. So 3 in the positive, maybe 1 in the negative. I'll say 9 wins with Mike White. Mayday Nosh says Jets greater than Giants. You know I'm always going to say that here. Greatly appreciated. Mudvile says, how about Hall running back 1, Zeke running back 2, running back 3, Izzy? I'll be honest, I don't really want Zeke at this point. I would have taken Zeke last year. I thought that was fine. I don't particularly want Zeke anymore. Matt C says, what about doing it at a hotel, in a ballroom or something? Have them put up a projector screen, do an open bar with drink tickets on one side, cash bar on the other. So we could keep the price down and not do an open bar and do like tickets. Like say like, hey, everyone gets 2 drink tickets. And it's a matter of you can buy a liquor drink if you want, or maybe there's some people that don't drink and they want to have a Gatorade. Then it goes that way. And then we wind up paying for whatever the tab ends up being with those tickets. And then it's cash after your 2 tickets. We could do that. The thought has been kicked around. Hotel is interesting, but I love the idea of and projector. Yes, projector or massive TV is a must. And the thought isn't so much if we do a live draft party that we would not do the stream. We would still plan on doing the stream. We just have to find a venue that has good internet that allows us to push out the stream live. Because that would be a ton of fun to have the fan reaction to the draft the same way the draft party does it and like all that good stuff. That would be a ton of fun. I'd love to do that. But yeah, definitely open to some ideas. We have I think 4 venues right now that we're kind of kicking around. And over the next 2 days, we'll probably come up with a few more and see if it's of interest. I mean, based on the live chat, 72% of you are interested in a live Talking Jets party. Obviously, we'd have to charge for it. We can't front the entire bill, but very much interested in it. Dakota says mozzarella sticks in sauce, mild sauce, hot sauce. Mozzarella sticks are so good. I fucking love cheese, and mozzarella cheese is incredible. So I could dip it in anything. Jimmy says mozzarella sticks and ketchup is fire. Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I felt like slightly awkward as a kid. I'd get ketchup, and they're like, "Oh, who's this kid? Like, let's stick him in the back of the fucking pack." Not gonna draft him. Kev says ketchup is full of diabetes or sugar. Of course it is. It's only the best kind of diabetes. It's a kind where you lose a toe or a foot or an ankle. No, yeah. Look, there's a lot of sugar in ketchup, which is why it's so tasty and why it's so good. Dakota says mozzarella sticks and mayo. What are you fucking? What the hell's his name? Levis. You're nuts. Dakota says mozzarella sticks and milk. Fucking weird. Kev says you don't want any lawsuits. Make it in a public park. I don't think we can. I don't think we can do a public park. You get too many people pissed off. The Jets did the wrong thing. Scooby says how old of people can go. So that's the thing. We're gonna have to find that out because I think if it's at a bar, especially later in the night, or if it's at a venue that has alcohol, it probably knocks out the under 21 crowd, I would imagine. Those are questions that we'll ask coming up and see if that's actually an option. Because obviously, to have any kind of value, I think we have to have an open bar. I don't think we could realistically just show up at a bar and expect them to, or a restaurant and expect them to like cater to us, especially if we have, I don't know, 75 to 100 people show up. Dakota says, we need a quarterback behind Rodgers. A quarterback for the long-term future. A real O-line, 2 to 3 receivers for Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, both. We need towards that. I believe it. Dakota, you're making me sad. You're making me sad. Gamer Guy says, mozzarella sticks and ketchup is so good, and hot sauce. Yes. So I love hot sauce. I can have hot sauce on friggin' anything. I have not, I'll be honest, I have not tried it on mozzarella sticks, but I can't imagine it being bad on mozzarella sticks. Mio Denosh, am I the only one who likes mozzarella sticks with mayo? Yeah, you're fucking weird. Sorry. I love you, but you're fucking weird. Mozzarella sticks and mayo? Anything in mayo other than bread. Even bread's like a fucking questionable thing. It's like, I don't know. Mayo's an odd fucking thing. Kev says popcorn or pretzels with beer. I like pretzels. I'm a big pretzel guy. Popcorn goes stale too fast for me. My favorite snack of choice is pretzel M&Ms or chocolate covered pretzels in some capacity. I don't dislike popcorn. I actually got, do I still have it in here? Yeah, Daddy got a little too hungry mid-snack and had some popcorn the other night. It's like a candy-coated popcorn. Golden Gourmet. Ingredients: sugar, corn syrup, then popcorn. Not great. Not super tasty either, I'll admit. But gets the job done at 3 in the morning when you're making slides of offensive tackles and wide receivers. Matt C says, mayo is the GOAT. Matt C, you suck. You're nuts. You're crazy. Not a mayo guy. Jimmy Jet says, pretzels. Abram says, don't put down the mayo. Oh, I am not a mayo guy. That is weird. Rich says, get the bottle of Melendez black truffle hot sauce. Should go great with mozzarella sticks. Black truffle hot sauce. I don't know what that is, but I will look at it. Curly says, no self-respecting person of Italian descent can eat mozzarella sticks with ketchup. Well, good thing I'm not Italian. I'm 97% Irish and 3% Scandinavian. I don't know if that means ketchup, but it does for me. Kev says, very true. Pretzel. Dakota says, I hate mayo, ketchup, mustard, all. I'm actually not a big mustard fan. I do like honey mustard. That's pretty good. I'll have that on like chicken fingers and fries and things like that. Jimmy says, mayo and bologna. What are you, a fucking communist? That's fucking Looney Tunes, dude. You're crazy. You are insane. This guy's an idiot. Mayo and bologna. Get the hell out of here. Tomato paste greater than ketchup. I don't know about that, dude. I don't know if I've ever had tomato paste. Let's see what else you guys talking about in here. Real quick before we rip through. Hot sauce, mild sauce, spicy buffalo sauce. I mean, yes, any kind of sauce. Gamer Guy says, Ryan, would you take this offer? Take A.J. Dillon. Give you a second and maybe a third rounder. The Packers may not be keeping Dillon. Is Dillon a free agent or is he still on his contract? I feel like one of the two running backs is still there. I don't think they're both on expiring deals. Matt C says, truff. That's horrid. Truff. What the hell are you talking about, truff? What is truff? I don't know what truff is. You are truff, Matt. Makes no sense to me. I thought mayo. I thought the Irish like mayo. Hey, maybe I'm fucking wrong then. I'm a bad Irish guy. I like beer and sadness. That's what the Irish thing is. All right. Oh, okay. Let's go Matt C in here. Like he said, I'm surprised no one said ranch. I would take ranch over mayo 100 times over 100. 100 times out of 100. All damn day. Oh, Curly's talking about chicken tenders. Curly says, not actually a huge mozzarella stick fan. Give me those chicken tendies all day. I love tendies. I'm a big tendies guy. Even like, if I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I'm getting boneless wings. Call me fucking a child all you want. I will take the boneless wings over having to eat around a bone all damn day. That said, I do like wings more. Oh, wings more than flats? Flats more than wings. Whatever it's flats. Wings are the one stick. Flats are the two. Ugh. Adirondack guy. Are you talking about like truffle fries? Is that what you're talking about? Truff is a brand of truffle flavored hot sauce. I did not know that. Interesting. I do like truffle fries. I'll say that. Those are slamming. I'm a big potato guy. I guess that's how you know I'm Irish. All right. It's 11 o'clock. My ass has to go to bed. I'm fucking shot. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. Let's hit that like button on the way out. We got over 130 people in here. Only 100 likes. Go a long way. If you enjoy the stream, hit the like button. If you don't, hit the like button on your way out and never come back in. Fuck off. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun. I'll talk to you guys next week. This is Jets Talk signing off. Jets.